The office door opened, and there she was, Vanessa, the woman who once called me worthless in front of the entire boardroom, who took the promotion that was mine, the credit that was mine, the future that was mine. She froze mid-step, her polished heels stopping on my company's marble floor, her mouth opening but no sound coming out. 5 years ago, I said nothing when they humiliated me. I packed my box of belongings in silence, rode the elevator down 32 floors without a single word, and disappeared. No lawsuits, no confrontations, no tears they could see, just quiet. Now she stood in front of my desk, in my building, applying for a job at the company I built from the wreckage of what they left behind. Her hands trembled. I simply folded mine and said, "Please, sit down. My name is Elena Marsh. Before I built anything of my own, I was the quiet one at Halloway and Reed, the marketing associate who stayed late, who fixed other people's mistakes without complaint, who said happy to help so many times it became a kind of armor. Vanessa Cole ran the department. She had a gift for taking my ideas into meetings and returning, with the applause meant for her. I never fought it. I told myself patience was strategy. Really, I was afraid that speaking up would confirm what she already believed about me, that I was replaceable, that I didn't belong at the table. My mother used to say some people mistake silence for weakness. She never said what happens when that silence is actually a fuse burning toward something they can't see coming. I watched Vanessa closely those years, not out of obsession, out of necessity. I learned how she worked, who she stepped on, which corners she cut to look brilliant. I kept records. I kept receipts. Not for revenge, I told myself then. Just in case. I didn't know yet that just in case was the seed of everything that came after. The insults were never loud. That was Vanessa's talent. Cruelty delivered. So softly it looked like nothing at all. "Elena, can you clean this up before the client sees it?" she'd say, sliding my own proposal back across the table as if she hadn't lifted it word for word an hour earlier. She'd smile when she said it. A small, practiced smile, the kind meant for an audience. In meetings, she had a habit of pausing right before my name, just long enough to make people wonder if she'd forgotten it. And Elena, was it? She helped with some of the research. Some, not all. Never all, even when it was. Once, in the break room, I overheard her tell a new hire, "Don't worry about impressing her. She's not who makes decisions here." She didn't know. I was standing behind the door. I didn't correct her. I just stood there, coffee cooling in my hand, memorizing the sound of her voice saying it. I started noticing the pattern in everyone's eyes when she spoke. Over me, the quick glance my way, then away, like witnesses to something they'd decided not to see. I said nothing. I was already somewhere else in my mind, building. The turning point wasn't dramatic. That's what people never expect. It was a Tuesday. Vanessa presented the Kessler campaign to the executive board. My campaign, my strategy deck, even my typo on slide 6 that I'd meant to fix that morning. She got a standing ovation. I got asked to bring in more coffee for the room. I stood in the doorway holding a tray of cups I didn't need to be holding, and something in me went very quiet. Not angry quiet, clear quiet, like a window wiped clean after years of fog. I realized I had been waiting for someone to notice what I was worth, and nobody was going to. Recognition was not a thing that would be given to me here. It was a thing I would have to build somewhere else, on my own terms, brick by silent brick. That night I didn't cry. I opened my laptop and started writing a business plan. I'd been sketching in notebooks for 2 years, always someday. Someday became that night. I didn't quit in a blaze of glory. I gave 2 weeks' notice, thanked everyone politely, and let them believe I was simply moving on to something smaller. They had no idea I was moving toward everything. I didn't plan revenge. I planned a company. The distinction mattered. Revenge built on rage collapses eventually. I'd seen it happen to people who burned bridges loudly, who sent scathing emails, who got remembered as difficult instead of right. I wanted to be remembered as inevitable. I spent the first year consulting quietly for 2 of Halloway and Reed's smaller competitors, using nothing that wasn't mine. No client lists, no proprietary decks, just my own skill, rebuilt from scratch under my own name. I got certified in digital strategy analytics, something Vanessa always dismissed as a phase. I used my severance and savings to register Marsh Collective, a boutique consultancy, and took exactly 1 client the first 6 months. Because I wanted to do the work right, not fast. I studied contracts the way I once studied Vanessa, closely, patiently. I made sure every agreement I signed protected me in ways my old employment contract never had. I didn't call anyone at my old office. I didn't post victories online. I let the work speak, slowly, the way water carves stone, not through force, But through time, nobody thinks to notice until the shape has already changed. 3 years in, Marsh Collective wasn't boutique anymore. We had 40 employees and a client list that made competitors nervous. Halloway and Reed lost the Kessler account, the one built on my old strategy deck, run into the ground by people who never understood why it worked in the first place. I didn't take it. I didn't have to. Kessler came to me. I heard secondhand that Vanessa had been let go 18 months earlier. Restructuring, they called it. I felt nothing when I heard it, not triumph, not pity, just the quiet click of a door closing somewhere far away. I never sought her out. I never needed to check on her unraveling. That was the part people misunderstood about quiet revenge. I wasn't watching her fall. I was building something so solid that her fall became irrelevant to my life, a footnote in someone else's story. The morning she walked into my office for an interview, I didn't recognize her at first. She'd aged in the way people do when the world stops being kind to them for once. She sat across from me, hands folded, and said, "Eleanor, I didn't know this was your company." "Most people don't," I said, "until they need it to be." She sat in that chair for a long moment before she could speak again. "I need this job. Elena, things have been hard." Her voice had none of its old polish. I recognized the tone. It was the one I used to use with her 5 years ago, asking for scraps of credit I'd already earned. I didn't gloat. I didn't remind her of the boardroom, the coffee tray, the typo she never fixed. I simply told her the position had been filled that morning, which was true, and wished her well, which was also true. My assistant asked me afterward if I felt vindicated. I told her I felt something quieter than that. Settled, maybe. The kind of peace that doesn't come from watching someone suffer, but from realizing their power over you dissolved. A long time ago, and you never announced it. What stayed with me wasn't her face when she recognized my name on the door. It was the memory of the version of me that once believed silence meant weakness. She'd been wrong. Silence used well is just patience with better manners. People ask why I never confronted her outright. The truth is, I didn't need her to understand what she'd done. I only needed to stop needing her opinion of me at all. I think about that boardroom sometimes, but it doesn't sting the way it used to. It's just a photograph now. A version of a life I outgrew the way a snake outgrows its skin. Not violently, just necessarily. Marsh Collective has offices in 2 cities now. I mentor young associates who remind me of myself at 26, the ones who apologize before they speak, who shrink to fit rooms that were never built for them. I tell them what I wish someone had told me. Your silence can be a weapon or a wound, and only you decide which. I don't know what happened to Vanessa after that morning. I didn't ask. Some doors close on their own, and you don't need to watch them lock. What I know is this. I built something no one can take credit for but me. My name is on the door. My work fills the walls. And when I walk into a room now, no one pauses before saying it. There's a particular kind of justice that doesn't come with applause or confrontation, the kind that arrives quietly, years later, in an office you built with your own 2 hands. I didn't destroy her. I simply became someone she could no longer reach.